This was one of my first photo shoots ever, ever, ever. It was, if I remember.
From a shy Catholic schoolgirl in New Jersey to an Oscar-winning actress who once became the most talked-about woman in Hollywood, Anne Hathaway's story is one of dazzling triumphs and brutal takedowns. She has been hailed as a princess, crowned with awards, yet mocked by a strange wave of backlash that turned admiration into ridicule. How did Anne transform from a teenager discovered by Disney into the face of prestige cinema, only to become the target of an entire cultural phenomenon called Hathahate? And more importantly, how did she survive it? This is the untold journey of Anne Hathaway, a tale of ambition, scandal, reinvention, and the resilience of a woman who refused to let Hollywood define her. Anne Jacqueline Hathaway was born on November 12, 1982, in Brooklyn, New York, but spent most of her childhood in Millburn, New Jersey. Her father, Gerald, was a successful lawyer, and her mother, Kate Macaulay, had once been a stage actress. It was Kate who first ignited Anne's passion for performing, often rehearsing lines at home and inspiring her daughter to dream of the stage. Growing up in a devout Catholic household, Anne initially imagined herself following a very different path. She once declared that she wanted to become a nun, but destiny had other plans. As she grew older, Anne discovered a love for acting that was impossible to ignore. She sang in school choirs, performed in local theater productions, and amazed teachers with her ability to embody complex emotions. Her teenage years, however, were not free of challenges. Hathaway wrestled with anxiety and perfectionism, struggling to balance her strict religious upbringing with her longing for creative freedom. These conflicts left her feeling isolated at times, but they also forged a sense of resilience and determination that would later define her career. By the time she entered her late teens, Anne Hathaway was no longer dreaming of convent life. She was preparing to conquer the world, armed with ambition, talent, and a hunger to prove herself. Anne Hathaway's first steps into the professional world of acting came in the late 1990s, when she was cast in the short-lived television series Get Real, 1999. The show barely lasted a season, but critics quickly noticed her expressive range and natural charisma. It was enough to catch the attention of Hollywood casting directors. Then came the role that would forever change her life. In 2001, at just 18 years old, Anne auditioned for a small Disney film that no one expected to become a global sensation. The movie was The Princess Diaries. Cast as Mia Thermopolis, the awkward teenager who discovers she is heir to a European throne, Hathaway delivered a performance filled with charm, humor, and relatability. Overnight, she was no longer an unknown actress, she was a star. The film became a box office hit, spawning a sequel and cementing Anne as Disney's new princess. Yet, while the role brought her fame, it also came with a price. Hollywood began to see her only as the sweet, clumsy girl next door. Hathaway, however, was determined not to be trapped in a single image. Even as she embraced the adoration of young fans, she quietly plotted her escape from the shadow of Mia Thermopolis, preparing to prove that she was capable of far more than wearing a tiara. Determined to escape the shadow of her princess image, Anne Hathaway began choosing roles that revealed her depth and versatility. In 2005, she shocked audiences with her performance in Brokeback Mountain, playing the complex and conflicted wife of Jake Gyllenhaal's character. The film was a critical triumph, earning multiple Academy Award nominations and proving Hathaway could handle serious, emotionally demanding material. A year later, she took another bold leap with The Devil Wears Prada, 2006. Starring alongside Meryl Streep, Hathaway played Andy Sachs, a young woman navigating the ruthless world of high fashion. The role struck a chord with audiences everywhere. Anyone who had ever struggled between ambition and identity could see themselves in Andy. The film became a global box office success and elevated Hathaway to the ranks of Hollywood's leading actresses. She continued to push boundaries. In Rachel Getting Married, 2008, Hathaway portrayed a recovering addict with raw vulnerability, earning her first Academy Award nomination for Best Actress. Critics hailed it as a defining performance that stripped away her perfect image and exposed her as a fearless artist. Hathaway balanced these prestige roles with blockbuster appeal. She appeared in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, 2010, showing she could command fantasy epics as easily as intimate dramas. Then, in 2012, she achieved a career-defining double triumph. First, she stunned skeptics as Catwoman in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, embodying both strength and seduction. Later that year, she delivered the performance of a lifetime in Les Misérables. Her haunting portrayal of Fantine, complete with a devastating rendition of I Dreamed a Dream, earned her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, along with a Golden Globe and a BAFTA. By the age of 30, Anne Hathaway had conquered Hollywood. She was no longer just a Disney princess or a romantic comedy darling. She was an Oscar-winning powerhouse at the very top of her profession. But as history shows, with every peak comes a storm. Fame can be a crown of thorns, and for Anne Hathaway, the years following her Oscar triumph were some of the harshest of her life. Even before her Academy Award, Hathaway's personal life had already been scarred by scandal. In 2008, her then-boyfriend Raffaello Folieri, a flashy Italian businessman, was arrested and later convicted of fraud. Hathaway had no involvement, but tabloids feasted on the story, splashing her name across headlines as the actress whose lover swindled millions. She endured invasive scrutiny and was forced to publicly cut ties, a humiliation she later described as one of the darkest periods of her life. But nothing compared to what came after Les Misérables. Following her Oscar win in 2013, Hathaway became the target of an inexplicable cultural phenomenon known as Hathahate. Critics and internet commentators accused her of being insincere, overly polished, even annoyingly perfect. Her emotional acceptance speech, once considered a heartfelt moment, was mocked as staged and artificial. The backlash was merciless. Every red carpet smile was dissected, every interview was ridiculed, and the media turned her earnestness into a weapon against her. Suddenly, Anne Hathaway, who had once been embraced as America's sweetheart, was labeled Hollywood's most hated actress. The hostility reached such a fever pitch that Hathaway chose to retreat from the spotlight. She stopped attending events, avoided interviews, and deliberately stepped away from major projects. For a time, her absence led some to wonder if her career could ever recover. But behind the silence, Anne Hathaway was not finished. She was regrouping. What the world mistook as defeat was, in truth, the beginning of her reinvention. When Anne Hathaway re-emerged after the storm, it was with a new sense of confidence and control. No longer trying to please everyone, she began choosing roles that reflected both her maturity as an actress and her resilience as a person. In 2014, she reunited with Christopher Nolan for Interstellar, portraying a scientist torn between duty and love. The role was understated yet powerful, and it reminded audiences of her emotional range. The following year, she charmed viewers in The Intern 2015, playing a modern businesswoman balancing ambition with compassion. These roles marked a new chapter. Hathaway was no longer chasing approval. She was reclaiming her identity. Off-screen, her life also transformed. In 2012, she married actor and jewelry designer Adam Schulman, and together they built a private, grounded family life, welcoming 2 children. For an actress once defined by tabloid scandals and public ridicule, this newfound stability was both liberating and healing. Hathaway also embraced activism. She worked with UNICEF, advocated for gender equality, and spoke passionately about the pressures women face in Hollywood. Importantly, she addressed Hathahate directly, acknowledging the pain but refusing to be diminished by it. In doing so, Anne Hathaway turned a narrative of ridicule into one of resilience, proving that reinvention is not about escaping the past, but transforming it into strength. Today, Anne Hathaway stands as far more than a Hollywood actress. She is a symbol of resilience in an industry that can both crown and crucify its stars. Her journey from wide-eyed Disney princess to Oscar-winning performer, from public ridicule to hard-earned respect, reflects a rare strength and determination. She has proven that authenticity, vulnerability, and talent can withstand even the harshest spotlight. For every headline that tried to reduce her to caricature, Hathaway answered with performances that reminded the world why she belongs among Hollywood's elite. Her legacy lies not only in her body of work, from The Devil Wears Prada to Les Misérables, but also in her refusal to let scandal or backlash define her. She embodies the truth that reinvention is survival, and that grace under fire is its own kind of power. Anne Hathaway's journey proves that even in the face of doubt and derision, true artistry endures. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood journeys.